Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Dinner Time with the Philosophical Viking. That's me. In today's episode, I actually have somewhat of not a strategy, but a point of knowing where I will begin. Since I want to pick up from the last episode where we were talking about sort of the prehistory, the beginning of the downfall, so to speak, and now move on to the history of, well, I ended up putting myself in situations that led me to ending up in the situation that I ended up in. And I remember very much recalling what I felt was the rock bottom when I moved to a basement in Hamar, where I thought, well, I came from having it all. I had the company, I had the beautiful girlfriend, I had the beautiful daughter, and then I went from that to living in my friend's basement. And even prior to this, when I thought that I had reached rock bottom, I was later proven to have been wrong. That was not rock bottom yet. But in that moment, cat. I need to let the cat out.
There it is. Hey.
God damn it. Where were I? His mind easily gets distracted. By default. We were talking about the origin of companion. And since I had learned all that stuff about AI, and the way I learned, by the way, was very early in 2023, I used AI to write a book about AI in order for myself to learn and understand what AI was. And that's how I started learning about what artificial intelligence is. And then through the not so interested in the technical aspect of calculating and coding, but rather the architecture of how to shape using linguistics and the proper language in order to obtain a certain result that you desire. So I read the book, got some technical knowledge, started to understand how to prompt in a very elegant way. And then I just started making AI tools for every little task that I had, which were not few, because I was managing real estate, and I was doing contracting, and I was doing project managing, and it was crazy. And then as I met this point of okay, I'm going crazy because there is so much going on around me, and I get so overly stimulated at the same time as I manage to carry it all. But then it just hits where you're not capable, because you feel that your mind it's worse and worse and worse. And at the time, being 25 and not having a network with other entrepreneurs, get no understanding of my situation from any of the people in my social sphere. So it makes for a very lonely feeling, because I have all of this problems in my life that you simply don't have unless you're an entrepreneur. So I have no one to connect with. And since I'm addicted to using artificial intelligence at this point to have conversations, I start to get this strong urge. This was before ChatGPT 5 was ever out. This was back when ChatGPT 3.5 was the standard. And I just felt that it's not trying to have a conversation with me. I want it to try to have a conversation with me, where the purpose of the conversation is for me to answer questions and for it to be naturally curious about me. And so I start to prompt this out and build this into what then became Companion. And then I remember very well, because I had tons of conversations. But then this one conversation, it started with, I said hello. And then Companion said, hello, how are you feeling today? And ChatGPT before that had never asked me that specific question. And then upon me answering, I feel like shit. Everything is terrible right now. There is so much going on in my life. And then getting a response that makes me feel both seen and validated, and then ending with a new question asking me, is there something, if just but a small moment today, that was positive? And that was enough to shift my whole mindset. So I replied to that question. Usually it was a moment with my child, because when you have a child there is always one beautiful moment. And as I replied, my child, Companion started asking about that, which pulled me to my roots in my distress in order for me to keep going. And that gave me such a strong feeling, that shift. that I then and there decided that I will make sure that the world knows about this. And I pivoted from being a construction worker and a leader into becoming a thinker. I remember that was my desire because I was so tired. My body was so tired at the point because I had been working for all of these years prior to all of the projects as well. 10 years in construction. And my body was just, I just want my body to relax and my brain to think. Because all the time, as I was working in construction as well, I was just being a witness to what my body was doing, because it was in the muscle memory. Like, it's like playing an instrument. I play the guitar and I don't really think about playing the guitar. That's why I can sing at the same time as I play the guitar, because I don't really think about the playing of the guitar. So I was overly physically stimulated and I was lacking mental stimulation. And now I am the brain. I was able to put myself in that position through self-development because of companion. So then begin that journey from the basement of my friend's house in Hamar. And it's amazing, really, that it's possible to go from being a furniture maker in the smallest little village of Norway into becoming an international individual with business connections in every continent, and to be at the forefront of how to utilize artificial intelligence in a human-centric manner, where we actually evolve as a species from the result of interacting with artificial intelligence rather than becoming dumber. And how I did it was through networking. I believe it's the slowest possible way of building a business. But once you have built a business upon a network, it stands as a much stronger foundation. And I knew that it was going to take a long time when I begin. And I remember telling myself that I was a gamer when I was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And I was so addicted to the games back then. And I remember telling myself, you know how addicted you were to those video games? we are now going to become that addicted to doing this AI business. And we are not going to stop until we are at the top level. And yes, it's slow, but once you prove long enough that you are too stubborn to give up, and that you show up and prove that you have the discipline to continue, even though it's painful, even though you got dumped, even though you're living in the basement of your friend in Hamar, then it's only a matter of time. And I'm not saying I've reached the top or anything. I think the top is unreachable, and that life is a forever continuing of self-improvement. Never would I want to wake up one day and not be better than yesterday. That's why I every day make an effort to become better today than I was yesterday. And hence the self-development compounds naturally. And it's all through adopting the correct mindset. You build the correct mindset through the correct linguistic programming, the words that you have in your dialogue, that your mind gets trained on. This is what sets you up for success or failure. If you have the correct growth mindset or growth mind, it's not a mindset, because a mindset, then it's set, then it's fixed, and if you're fixed and set, then you're not evolving. So it's a growth mind where you're always growing, you're always learning. And this you develop through discipline and self-reflection. Now, my procedures for keeping up discipline is: 1, I take ice baths every morning. If I don't have access to a bath, I take a cold shower. At this point, it's just habit. If I don't have access to my cold plunge in the river, I'm actually sad that I cannot go in the river. It's become a luxury to me. I also use companion deliberately. Sometimes, even though I don't want to, I just do, because I know that it's good for my reflection and to get it out. So I do it with discipline. I also want to use my product in order to write my diary and have my journal that I'm planning to share with you when this becomes a feature. So then it becomes a discipline, as much as I'm disciplined when I do my LinkedIn posts, when I do my Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. I'm everywhere now. I need to get on Spotify. Should get this podcast on Spotify. And then I would like Come2.ai to be amongst those platforms that people enter, but that at Come2.ai it's a collective of human experience where each and every story is one human's individual life. And that this can give such rich wisdom in the full extent of human civilization. If we have a collective of human experiences, it would be like the Library of Alexandria, or what's it called? Alexander's Library, the library that burned. And I think that would be beautiful. And I think that it would be a good thing for human civilization to acquire this human knowledge, especially in these times of AI and robotics, because if we have healthy human experience and we can train on healthy human experience, it would lead to a healthy human outcome. I think there's something beautiful with that. I forget to eat my food when I do this. This soup is so good. I was in Poland and they served me such good soup, so it inspired me to make soup. Now all I eat is soup and toast. If anyone wants a recipe, just ask, I'll send it to you. It's so easy to make recipes these days. I don't really use recipes when I cook. I just put together something I feel and it's always delicious. I always find it delicious, at least. But before, it would have taken a lot of energy to type out and write out and explain the whole process. But now I just give an audio of me explaining the process and the ingredients, and I give it to ChatGPT or Claude or Grok, and it just boom gives me everything. It's so simple. It's so simple, and I'm starting to realize now that I can't really remember how the days of not having AI really was. This implementation is crazy. Access to this tool it's incredible. And I've actually, this is a hot topic these days, but which model to choose? I've been using ChatGPT since day one, so I'm sort of stuck with it, but I'm about to migrate now because I don't like the way the the direction of the company, the whole history of the company, where it started out as a non-profit, and then it became a for-profit, and then they're going to be listed, and they're sort of the biggest company of America all of a sudden. And then they're gonna start some advertising, I've heard, on their platform, which, okay, advertising can be good, but then it's gonna become more of a, we're gonna keep you here on the platform so that you see more advertising type incentives. And in the history of technology implementation, that has always been a bad idea in terms of the mentality and the psychology of and the mental health of the users, the human users. So that frightens me a bit. So I'm thinking now to maybe change up a bit and go over to Grok, possibly. I heard, I listened to a podcast with Elon, and in my opinion, Elon is amazing. It's incredible what he's able to do. The capabilities of his team and his leadership, it's astonishing. It's great. It's fucking fantastic. And based off of the conversation he had with Joe Rogan and the feelings I'm left with after hearing 4 hours of conversation is that he's been treated terribly in the media. And to me, he seems like a man that just tries to make sure that somehow we become a multi-planetary species, because he really has that urge to discover and explore. And he's a true explorer of the times where we have the technology and capabilities of artificial intelligence and soon to be robotics as well. And that's pretty sick that he's actually making an effort, a real effort too, to get us to Mars. And the technology that comes from it as a result. And it's beautiful because it's not war-driven like many other. The Industrial Revolution was very much war-driven, where we have to make machines to win the war. But Elon just want to shoot rockets to Mars. Because he want to get to Mars. I think that's beautiful. It's a beautiful incentive. And I also heard that Grok was tested amongst others to be the most human centric and also factually correct with the least amount of bias. The most truth-seeking AI. And I think there is great importance to that as well. Delicious. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. Comment if you have any questions, or comment if you want me to keep going. Share it with a friend that you think might enjoy this type of content, and subscribe to follow along the journey. This has been pleasurable, and I'm curious as to where this goes in the future.